It's Spoilerin time, folks, a companion show to Cordkillers. Cordkillers is a show where we talk about the news, how things are going in the streaming world, how to find things to watch. And then we watch them and we come here and we talk about them. This week, we're going to talk about The Boys, season 4, episodes 7 and 8. And Westworld is back, and we're talking about season 4, episodes 2 and 3. I'm Tom Merritt. He's Brian Brushwood.
Yeah, dude. And by the way, sometimes we don't watch the things and we talk about them, which is an experiment we're trying right now with Westworld. Although I don't know which one are we going to start with, Tom.
Let's start with Westworld, episodes 2 and 3. And as Brian reminds us, Brian is only experiencing season 4 of Westworld through the eyes of Bryce and myself.
That's For the record, I very much enjoyed episode 1. I can't wait to find out what happens in the next 2 episodes.
I took notes, Tom. Did you take notes? I took a lot of notes.
I did not take notes, so I'm very glad that you actually take your job responsibilities seriously, and I will lean on you unnecessarily. But yeah, Brian, you're going to watch it though, right? That's still the plan.
Yeah, sure. I mean, assuming that you guys don't give up on it midway through. If you guys start hate watching it, I may fail to binge it.
Sure. Okay. All right. That's fair. That's fair. Episodes 2 and 3 are Well Enough Alone and what was it? Filet Anne?
Yes, Anne's.
Anne Filet.
Anne Filet. Yeah. I don't know what is that a French?
Ouais.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait. En français.
En français. Okay.
Years Folly? Anne is years.
Okay. Interesting.
Anyway, what we have here is Jesse Pinkman heading off with
Maeve.
With Maeve and getting sucked into a new Westworld, but it's Westworld Chicago.
Okay. Did you hear?
Real quick, when last we visited Westworld, I was asking. They didn't establish whether or not the robots or the humans won the war.
We still don't know.
Still don't know.
I mean, we presume. So they tell us a lot of stuff that you presume that the humans won. But also, I want to bring up something that you mentioned last time we did Spoilerin time, Brian, which was this idea that they hadn't established by episode 1 of like, what if the humans are the hosts and they have all been replaced and they don't know? Yeah, that seems like what's the story that they're doing.
Oh, no!
That seems like it is.
Did I accidentally stumble into because I didn't have all the context?
Well, but I think this episode is really good at showing, Tom, correct me, but I feel like they showed another magnitude of like awareness of the previous Westworld history, right?
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, by the so Maeve, they're following clues, and they get invited because they uncover that the senator in California and his wife have been replaced by robots, and it's kind of complicated because only the senator has been replaced and died, whereas the wife is still alive and she's being kept in a stable.
Oh no, she got shot in the head at the end of that scene.
And then at the end of that scene, she gets shot.
Hey,
correct. But they
no
find
spoilers
her
in Spoilerin time. It's fine.
They find her in the stable, right? Like she's still alive when they find her. Is my point. Whereas the senator was long dead. He'd already been killed.
That's true. And she was like playing with the entrails of the horse. She was like really messed up.
Yeah, she was obviously been tortured and long gone. And her whole point was to deliver some vague words that will help Maeve and
Caleb.
Thank you, Caleb. Why can I never think of Caleb's name? That will help Maeve and
by the way,
Caleb.
for the record, I'm perfectly comfortable with him always being Jesse Pinkman. That's fine.
And
so they go to this like swanky
the opera house
place. Yeah, opera house they've been invited to. They put on swanky opera clothes. So Jesse Pinkman's wearing a tux, and they're the only ones there. And then they figure out some stuff and go into some secret corridors and get into a secret bar. And so they go and order a drink, trying to figure out what's going on in the secret bar. And before they know it, the bar is a train, and the train's headed to Westworld.
That's right. That is, yep, yeah.
Okay.
In fact,
That's the end of episode 2.
That's episode 2. Now,
Okay.
episode 3 is great because you know who we haven't talked about all season, Brian? Bernard.
Oh, yeah.
So we start episode 3 with Bernard back in the Sublime. Do you remember the last time we saw Bernard?
What was in the previous season, he was the one that actually disconnected the future predicting robot, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he put on the little Wii remote head sensor thing,
Right.
and he went into the Sublime, the world where the host personalities are living, and apparently everyone there, Tom, is able to suss out what the future's going to be.
Yeah, so
They do a Doctor Strange thing.
It makes Eileen and I turn to each other and like, Doctor Strange. But yeah, it makes a certain bit of internal consistency because they are a highly proficient supercomputer, and the key is moments outside are centuries in the Sublime. So they have time with their computing resources to simulate all possible scenarios in the real world and figure out which ones are going to cause what results, which is only important to Bernard in the sense of he now knows what he has to do to save humanity.
Now, Brian.
So,
Now, Brian, we've told you this concept. This is what Bernard's power is. He's with Stubbs. Stubbs is still there.
yeah.
What do you think they do with Bernard's story? What type of story? An action story, a very dramatic story, a very contemplative.
Okay.
So
What type
of
of-
set the
the
scene.
lead up is
Bernard
changing.
wakes up. Bernard's covered in dust. It's been years since he put on the headset. For him, he doesn't realize it.
Caked in dust.
He wakes up and Stubbs is like, thank goodness. I thought you'd never been a wake up. It's been years.
So,
And they go do
slapstick comedy?
close. They go and do they go and do Bad Boys. Like Bernard is doing damn Bad Boys, and I'm so into it.
Oh yeah, and to be clear, this is all in the physical world, not in the
Sublime.
for what it's worth. The
We've
science
left the
fiction author
Sublime. Yeah.
Peter F. Hamilton has a series in which it covers so many thousands of years that some of the characters go, quote unquote, post-physical. Like, why do you have that stupid body laying around? Come join us in post-physical. So it's
No,
like,
this
I'm
is
kind of
where
into
we're-
this idea.
Yeah, we're back in the physical world a few years later, but Bernard knows everything that's going to happen.
Right. And so what happens is he ends up doing this Doctor Strange action movie. So they go to like a diner, and he's like, I know all of the paths that we can take from this exact moment, and I have to make sure that we do all of those things that will lead to me saving the world and me being alive at the end.
Wait. Are they doing an Edge of Tomorrow?
And so he's like, hey, you need to leave. Remember the shovel. And Sub's like, what shovel? He walks out. There's a shovel. They go to the...
You'll settle for the eggs and bacon. What are you talking about? I'm getting the waffle.
I'll take the pastrami. We don't have that. You want the eggs and bacon? Oh, I'll settle for that. Like... And so they do this great...
I think you guys are talking me into getting caught up. I don't know. This sounds awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Then while Stubbs is inside eating what he's settled for, Bernard goes out and kills 2 guys and sticks them in a trunk.
Beheads one of them.
As one does.
With the shovel.
I mean, once you say I've examined all possibilities and this is the one true path, literally, as we saw from Everything Everywhere All at Once, like, nothing's off the menu. If that's what makes it work, then fine.
And then, do you know where they go next, Brian? There's so many new locations in this season of Westworld.
Tell me they rob a bank.
They go to the Condemned Lands. That's right, folks. Mad Max is in Westworld.
What?
They go to a desert world to find raiders who are hiding out to find the secret weapon that they're looking for. And Bernard knows where it is, and he's going to save the day because it's the Doctor Strange thing.
Does he start ham boning? And he's like, this is all part of it. Oh, no.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Well, but the key is the 2 people he killed were the contacts for the raiders. And so he makes contact instead. The raiders see through it. They know exactly that he's not the right contact, but he's able, because he knows everything about what's happening and he shouldn't know anything, to convince them to take him to their headquarters.
And they keep showing the head of one of these contacts. And you remember in previous seasons the memory ball things in the hosts, those were red, I believe, right? They're like a dark red. they've got it's a new thing. It looks like a little apple ball, and it's white, and it's got flaps and stuff on it.
And that's how he convinces her. Is he's like, those two contacts? Well, they'd been replaced by hosts. Here's the head to prove it. And she's like, shit, you're right.
Okay,
That's
so
definitely a host head.
We're playing the game of we don't know which one of these is an invader among people, but
Bernard is a host. We all know this,
right?
She does not.
Well, I can't tell if they're also hosts, like the Raiders.
Everybody's a host.
Maybe
sure.
Well, the thing
I ain't seen it, but everything I've heard, it sounds like everybody's a host.
Not a host. Yeah.
The thing that excites me about this premise that they're walking into is the idea that we know that this is a world where there are humans and there are hosts, and we know that the hosts want to be seen as like a human plus.
An evolution of we're humanity's children, basically.
And so one of the things that they find in, by the way, it's called Gang World, suppossupposally.
Is it all Chicago 1940s?
Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
And
right
like they do, it's a really great scene. Like they shot it in the same place where they filmed the previous Sweetwater scenes. They have recreated the bar. They've got a new faux Maeve and a new faux Clementine.
So you're walking through a street in 20s, 30s era Chicago.
Prohibition era, yeah.
Yeah.
But
and a can rolls away.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And then you see the fake Dolores.
And Caleb's about to pick it up, and Maeve's like, "Don't touch that. It's a side quest."
That's good.
So you see,
I like that. Just tell me, is there some version of the piano playing?
Oh yeah, it's playing Billie Eilish as the bad guy in the first scene, and then it is doing this huge. You remember how there's a bank robbery in Sweetwater, right?
That's one of the quests.
Right.
Right.
So all of those people show up as like faux knockoffs as well. Do the same thing, but it's all Tommy guns.
That's awesome.
So there's a faux Doris. There's a faux Maeve. Maeve criticizes how well or good or bad than faux Maeve is at her job, and the whole point is that they want to get downstairs. And so Maeve's like, the best way to get downstairs is to die. So when the folks raid the bar, she just starts killing everybody. And then they hide among the bodies.
They get in the truck and go downstairs. And then, Brian.
Yes.
They go down and it's like, oh my God, we got in really easy. This is really weird. And they're looking around and the alarms go off.
Real quick, previous episode, somebody tricked them into getting on a train to go here, right?
They found their way there.
Well, okay. So it sounds to me like they were guided there.
They found information, and it's unclear whether they were guided or they, stumbled into it.
They go underground.
Now I'm lost again.
No. They go underground. Listen. They go underground. The alarm goes off. Intruder alert. And they walk out the door, and a security guy goes up, and he's like, hey, you're not supposed to be in here. And they're like, crap, we got caught. Hey, we just got lost. And then all of the knockoff hosts storm in. This is part of the story, the Westworld massacre. And so they're on like a fake Westworld, like underground area. And then they actually get to the real underground area, and it's all flies and black brain goo and the drone hosts.
I hate that on paper and in the pitch room, this sounds so awesome because it's 100% right. It's like, if we're going to celebrate the awful, torturous, unkind, cruel world of the American Old West, then why wouldn't 100 years later, whatever humanity's children are, create robots that are even more detached from them so that the robots can enjoy the simulation of one of their greatest tragic events?
I mean,
we don't know that everybody's a robot yet, but I've already predicted it. I'm double confirming my prediction.
The big thing is we don't know the motives. We know that they're using the flies, and they seems like they're using the flies to infect human people, but we don't really know what that does to them because you can't turn into a host. It's a robot.
Well,
yeah. And so when we get to the real underground, you don't find the Westworld stuff of building, robots and programming them. You find humans in cages, and you find a pipeline of flies that is breeding the flies out of maggots, programming the flies, and sending them to humans to program the humans to send them to do something of which we know not what.
Well, dang it. Like, all you have to do with the flies is say the word, like, something nanovirus. And then all of a sudden, sure, those are actual humans and they're being tortured with adopting the roles that robots used to have to do.
Well, one thing that we missed talking about in episode 2. So we see Hale. Hale is still around. They're framing her as the obvious bad guy in this whole thing. She has got the Man in Black in another one of those Vitruvian machines, but this one is like a prison or something. He's locked up in this suit, and she's making copies of the Man in Black. So all of these Men in Black going around doing all these action stuff and these flies are all host clones of the original that she's got locked up in this huge, cool machine. This show rules.
And
yeah, he's in a Tron suit. He's got lights.
He's in a Tron suit.
Okay. It's so
cool. I wonder if maybe this is like how the war ended, and
this is all a recreation.
Well, what they're doing is they're like, we've done it. He's the last human. We've replaced all the humans. His sentence for his crimes of not being cool with us robots is that he has to experience all the deaths until the scales are balanced, because logic.
I'm Hale.
No, it maybe, but it feels like they're using the Man in Black as a tool to capture things. So in the first episode, remember, they basically used the Man in Black and the flies to get control of the Hoover Dam, so they would have all of the data. And now they have a self-powering place with all the data. They didn't want to delete the data. They just wanted access to it. They wanted to make sure they controlled it. Now they do. And the Man in Black with Maeve and Caleb is sent to battle them. And they kill one and they just send another Man in Black in his place. So it feels like it's more than just punishment of the original Man in Black, if it is even that. It's using him as a persuasive tool because of who he looks like and who he represents.
Okay.
And then the way episode 3 ends is Caleb gets tricked by all of the robots in the fly hallway. One of them looks like his daughter, and all of the robots have been going around and shooting themselves in the head, and Caleb doesn't want to see that happen to his daughter.
Well, are they robots, though?
I think they were robots. Or you're right. I bet
the implication is, the way I would present it is, there are humans in cages, and the flies are released into the cages, and the humans are then controllable, and so they can be made to do anything.
Because we do see that whole process.
Including shooting them in the head. And we've seen an actual human get infected with the flies before. Although, hey, maybe the flies are infecting hosts. We don't know. But if they are humans, Caleb believes it because he sees his daughter in one of the cages, and he thinks they've got his daughter. That one turns out clearly to be a host because her whole face unfolds and starts shooting flies at him.
She does the Drake 7-Up commercial where it's and it splits up and just flies. It's great. And so
Maeve said they were human. G. James B is right, but
I don't think she knew what was going on.
Forget about this. You're not hearing that.
I don't think she really knew what was going on, to be honest. I muted him.
Well, she can't sense them, right? She can sense hosts. She can't sense them. So they're either humans or they're hosts she can't sense.
But there is some sort of connective tissue because she's able to hear the audio signals that they're giving to the flies to control them.
But Caleb can't. He can't hear that.
Yeah. I'm excited about this weird. I'm excited to see if what they're trying to do is a weird, like, faux organic thing instead of trying to be mechanical and robotic. But I don't know where that goes.
And here's the other thing. We have Caleb's wife and daughter protected by, what's his name, Carter?
Yeah.
And he gets replaced by a host.
That's right.
So it feels like he was probably human.
Well, but then the daughter finds his body later, so it is another.
Exactly. The daughter finds the human Carter's body and figures out what's going on. And so the mom then has to kill the host Carter to save the daughter. This is all intercut with Caleb discovering his daughter in the fly cage.
Right. Oh, right. Those are basically happening at the same time. Oh.
We're seeing them intercut
Yeah.
for sure. And it's not clear at first whether we're seeing how the daughter got captured
Or if that is
or if it's
something
something else that of course it turns
And
out.
also, they literally have a reputation for intercutting things that are very, very long distance apart in time. So
totally.
they're all robots.
But actually, in this case, the intercutting was happening simultaneously. We find out at the end that Caleb was not with his daughter, and his daughter was in fact being saved by the mom at the same time.
And then Caleb gets overrun by the flies, which
Y'all have not made one Lord of the Flies joke yet. I'm really disappointed.
Well,
because we don't know who's in charge of the flies.
Wait.
We were saving that one for when we find out,
Who?
Is it Hale? Is Hale Lord of the Flies?
Yeah. Gosh. I don't this is a good show, Tom. I wrote a lot of notes, but I think we covered everything. The only weird thing, can I give you a gripe? I got a gripe.
Yeah, give me your gripe.
So they're going to the condemned lands and they stop and they do that laser bit, right? Where like they got to get out and they got to have two people hold a key on other sides of the road, and these big mirrors come up out of the ground to like not interrupt these lasers that are nowhere. But here's the thing. Those lasers are all parallel with the ground, right? It's not like there are huge pylons shooting lasers. There are just parallel to the ground lasers in the middle of the desert. That's very strange.
Bryce, I am sad. I'm sad that I have not seen this, and I already understand the geometry of your gripe. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Where are they coming from? But it's
the pylons are just far away.
Totally. It's the condemned land. So I'm totally imagining a. You guys didn't watch it, but the what was the Peacock show about the personality?
Brave for NBC.
Brave New World.
Yeah, I watched a couple episodes of that.
They
go to the fake town out in the
and they do a force fieldy sort of thing. So I could see
human town.
Yeah. So Westworld's good.
Westworld is good. Brian, I go to sleep early at my age. I got home from a concert last night at midnight and stayed up and watched the entire episode of Westworld.
Good for you. Do you regret or embrace that decision?
It was one of those things where like I might fall asleep halfway through and I'll have to finish tomorrow, and I stayed awake.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
It's dumb. Like, yeah, it's dumb, but it's fun, man. It's just
rank
really fun.
The Westworld seasons.
Oh.
1, 2, and 3.
First season, the best.
Yeah.
Okay.
So far, this season, second best.
Wow. Okay.
Jury's out. Jury's out. Second season
not a terribly high bar, but it sounds like it passed it.
I mean,
well, it's too early to call this the best season yet.
Right. I think my ranking would be. I would agree with you, Tom. I'd say season 1, the current season 4, season 3 in third, and then season 2 at the bottom.
Oh, you'd put 3 in front of 2? Yeah, maybe.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like I also really want to rewatch 2, because that story they told it weird, but it could be good.
Yeah. That's all I got on Westworld.
Yeah.
Brian, any more questions?
Yeah, dude. The only lasers I care about come from the eyes of the only patriot in America left.
That's Westworld season 4, episodes 2 and 3. Let's talk about The Boys, season 4, episodes 7 and 8. And Brian, how are you feeling about the tangled familial web of sampling Soldier Boy's DNA in order to create Homelander?
I do wish that went somewhere more than we saw it.
More than a hint of like something really bad could happen if they agreed
to team up.
That would have been really cool,
especially given that the phone call, because it was at the end. Was it at the end of Herogasm that we found this out, or the first of these last 2 episodes?
It was at the end of Herogasm, and then episode 7 is when we weren't sure if Soldier Boy was going to team up, and in that episode we learned that he's not.
Yeah,
but he's sort of on the knife's edge of like, but maybe I should. He is my boy.
Well,
and so you kind of don't know which way he's going to break until episode 8.
And I suppose there's a bitter irony in the fact that Homelander doesn't do the thing that would be of most interest to me, like the promise of that last episode up until the ones we're talking about, was Soldier Boy was like, oh my God, I would step out of the limelight. Who wouldn't support their son? And he says, screw you, Dad. I only care about, wait for it, ellipses, my son.
Well, he wants.
I didn't get it as screw you, Dad. I got it as totally get you, but you didn't. And so I'm going to do better by my boy. Will you join me?
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, you're still weak. Like if he's sticking up for you, then you don't also say, well, but you're still weaker. Like you don't need to put him in his place if you are feeling like he should be equal, because he is more power. I mean, Soldier Boy and Homelander are probably equal in power. So if they're like dog alpha pack mentality.
I get why Soldier Boy kind of likes Homelander, but then doesn't really have a connection to him. Like that seems well played, of like, he likes the idea of having a son that he could do better by, but at the same time, if it's a lot of trouble, then he could just write it off as like, you're just a DNA sample. That feels like good storytelling. What I didn't understand is why he wanted to kill Ryan. And because I get why him trying to attack Ryan turns Billy Butcher against Soldier Boy. That all makes sense. But I didn't buy that Soldier Boy would care to harm Ryan for any reason.
Man, to be honest, these are the main threads, but they're not the ones that stuck out in my mind as the most notable.
Sure.
I'm more fascinated by A-Train waking up with the heart of a racist inside him. And his redemption arc planned out for him. I'm fascinated by the charade for 2 episodes until Homelander says, take off that ridiculous wig. We know you rip your hair out when nobody's looking. All of that stuff was...
She ripped her hair out? I just thought she was bald.
Oh, no.
It was in the recap that she like tore her hair out, and I'm assuming that she just kept doing
well,
stuff.
and they early on hinted at it in a like sexually charged moment where like grab my hair, pull my hair, or whatever. And then later, as she accrues more power, she begins to kind of grab and tug at her hair or whatever, and rip out here and then again. So it's like it's gotten so bad because remember, Starlight was almost able to flip her and get her on her side, but then she cowered out. Those were the more powerful moments for me.
The Maeve Homelander fight was pretty great.
Yeah. One of the criticisms, and I think it's legit, it's something I didn't notice in the moment, but I have been hanging around the subreddit for the boys, and one of the criticisms was the amount of time dedicated to Starlight supercharging her powers and giving a tremendous boost to basically push back Soldier Boy all of 3 feet. And then meanwhile, Maeve just comes in and gives up an eyeball to kill him or make the problem go away.
Yeah, because I mean that's always been the case. Is Maeve is way more powerful. So that tracks, right?
Yeah. The things I'm looking forward to.
You know what? As far as the Starlight thing goes, I did really like, and maybe it's trite, but I liked it anyway. So there. I liked how Huey had the V, the temp V,
and
had
didn't
the
take
moment
it.
where he could have chosen to help, to save Starlight, and instead chose to help her, which is what she was wanting him to do the whole time. Is like, you don't need to save me, but he's like, oh, I don't need to go do it for you, but I can give you some help in doing it. And so instead of taking the temp V, he ramps up all the power to get her to push back 3 feet. I get that. But it was symbolically important of him saying, I can be your ally, not try to white knight you.
It's like that moment that you realize, hey, you're the healer in the group, not the tank. So why don't you just play support?
Totally.
What else? Black Noir was alive 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not this
And,
episode.
Then we met his cartoon friends, and
that's a
now his
legit
guts are
question.
gone.
Now we're talking about a character who it reminded me a little bit of, spoiler alert, for Lord of the Rings a billion years ago, where when Gandalf, air quotes, died, I was like, well, that's weird that they didn't really give him a proper send-off, given what an important character he is. And then, of course, he shows up, next whatever. That's what I felt with the Black Noir. And I was like, yeah, but they ripped his guts out. He's definitely dead, right? And then I thought,
just sort of disappeared from view, and we're like, he can't possibly survive that, can he? Whereas Black Noir literally had his guts ripped out.
Yeah, but we also saw his brains blown out and smashed out. We saw him admit his one weakness was almonds and then get fed almonds. I mean, compared to those two very rule-breaking or story rule-breaking...
Wait, remind me about his brains getting bashed out.
Back in the 1980s, remember when Gus Fring is talking? We're never going to learn the names of the characters. When Gus Fring is telling him, like, yeah, no, I got this plan. I'm going to be great. I'm going to be Gus Fring, and then I'll disappear randomly halfway through mid-season and never come back. And then during the Soldier Boy fight, he smashes open his brains. Remember, they showed us twice. They showed us once in reality, and then again with the cartoons, reenacting in a play. You don't remember that?
No. I'm not saying you're wrong when I say that. I just totally blanked on that.
Okay. Anyway, I don't think Black Noir's dead.
If that's the case, then yeah, his guts being ripped out mean nothing, right? He can totally come back.
I mean, they didn't even kill Soldier Boy, so like, yeah, Black Noir is gonna come back. Why are we arguing? Like, they put him in.
All right,
this is the biggest threat to humanity yet, and they put him in crisis.
Soldier Boy was the source of the explosion, so of course he could survive. And Maeve, I was pretty sure that Maeve survived that anyway because she's so strong.
Well, and she's still at her powers up until, and I guess this is consistent in what we've seen before, is when whatever that thing is that robs powers, it seems to not be on purpose and not noticed as an intentional.
It's just a side effect,
right?
That you experience, right? And I was wrong. I thought Kimiko had her powers back, but no, she does not.
No, she takes real V.
Yeah.
She takes real compound V.
She takes real V to get her powers back, but I thought her powers back.
Oh, got it. No. Yeah.
Well, they did not. She had to take the V to get them back.
Which, by the way, that's Chekhov's compound V is the real compound V. And season 4, how quick do we think the boys start taking real V?
You're on season 4 now.
Yeah, they will be, dare I say, fantastic as 4 of them out there kicking butts.
Huey won't.
He might, if he gets a
let's
kitchen
put it this
pass.
Way. Huey will not want to take it anymore at this point.
And
so
won't he and Billy die if they keep taking it?
Well, that's gross V. That's experimental temp V. Right. But real compound V. Blue bottles.
Your solution.
No.
Blue
your
bottles.
Solution is
totally different.
Huey has taken too much temp V and he is dying. If he takes another round of temp V, he will absolutely die, but he might die anyway from the side effects. However, a cure for the problem with temp V is real V.
That's right. And that's why Butcher definitely takes real V, and he does it only so that he could stay alive. Huey, I don't know that it's 100% clear that the next dose will kill him. But it's pretty clear that
he was bleeding out of his ears.
Correct, but Butcher is, I believe, exactly 1 dose of temp V ahead of Huey.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't
not doing great either.
All we have to do though is have Huey's health decline, and Starlight knows why.
She suddenly says, I don't know. Maybe the real V is the real deal. Let's go back to original
now
Coke.
Huey fights her on it and like, no, I should die rather than take, blah blah blah.
That's definitely saying in the chat has it. It's there's going to be some moment they're going to argue about it, and there's going to be some critical moment where she's like without his permission going to inject
and then
him
Huey's going to hold that
compound V. Yes, 100%.
Maybe if I could see Huey doing it. I could see one person doing it. I could see Huey doing it because there's all of this tension that they didn't really resolve at all of, hey, don't you want to kill all the superheroes? Isn't your girlfriend one of the biggest superheroes? What are you going to do to resolve that? And I don't know. What do you think about the stuff that they set up with the senator becoming the vice president? What did you guys think about?
That seems like a fine acceleration for whatever, but I guess during these past 2 episodes, we also had that moment where Not to, I don't want to be political, but I guess it's inherent to the show. They reenact the basically Trump saying I could shoot somebody in Times Square and I'd still have the votes. And sure enough, that's exactly what Homelander does.
Well, and he gets the approval from that moment too.
Yeah.
He basically gets
from the stepdad of Mother Milk's kid.
I was going to say the leader of, because everybody's on a knife's edge of which way they're going to go until he starts talking about how awesome that was, and then everybody joins in.
Yeah.
Middle fingers. Oh my God.
Going back to the senator for a second, Victoria Newman. I would not want to be the president.
Well, you're next in line for succession. Oh my goodness. Would you be a cooperative president?
Or would he?
I mean, does he even know?
No, I think the secret is still secret at this point. I think only the Soups know. But
he's her body man.
And also at this point, whatever Starlight's saying, they've obviously positioned as, fake news or whatever. So it's like, even if she said that.
It was a tragedy that a villain was able to access the White House and kill the president. But now, as president, I, Victoria Newman, will double down and lock down superpowers, except for approved, trustworthy superheroes like Homelander.
A lot of the chatter I read was about Homelander's kid smiling at the cruelty at the end. I didn't find that to be terribly surprising. I mean, kids tend to.
I think it could have gone either way. They wrote it in a way that Ryan could have broke bad or good in that situation. But yeah, I'm not shocked that he broke bad. He's needed a strong father figure in his life, and Billy basically pissed him off.
Right.
And
here's
so he's looking at
offering
Homelander like
security, stability.
Everything. Yeah, absolutely.
A firm hand.
Yeah, and red, white, and blue, and cake.
Still,
this didn't feel like the season finale to me.
No, it didn't.
I thought so.
Well,
maybe because I liked the action this week.
I'm disappointed where it ended. It just felt like, great, what's the next episode? Like, it wasn't like, I don't know. It didn't have that finale flavor of like, and we're wrapping things up. There was like so little wrapped up.
A legit concern that I don't agree with is somebody asked, wait, so what happened this season? Our heroes broke up and then got back together. Nobody died or was defeated except for Black Noir. However, he dies every single season. So who knows?
It's very much like why did you punch yourself? Like you woke Soldier Boy up just to kill him because
and put him back to sleep. Right.
Like, yeah, man. Yeah. Okay.
I didn't mind it though, especially if it yields a more interesting chess game with more pieces to surprise us next season.
Also, that's kind of a thing of like, man, I really enjoyed this season until I started thinking of a reason not to enjoy it. Right? Like if you didn't enjoy the season, then yeah, I guess you could say like that's why I didn't enjoy it because nothing happened. But it feels to me like a lot of people are like, great episodes, loved the show, great series, and then start thinking about, well, but maybe I shouldn't like it. What really happened?
Right. And
to me, it's like, you know what? If you enjoyed it, you enjoyed it. Like, that's all that matters.
Well, if what you want is progression in the story, I will concede that this season did not progress the overall meta narrative very much. However, it was a great time the entire way through. I think it gave us more depth.
That does feel like enjoying by the numbers, where like you've got a book that's like, well, a story must progress for me to enjoy it. Okay, good. Let me look for the progression. That's you know what? Sometimes stories just entertain. And yes, you can get under the hood and realize, the lack of story progression kept me from being entertained. But if the story progressed enough that you felt entertained, I wouldn't go back and go like, but did it progress really? Or was I hoodwinked into enjoying it? You know what? You enjoyed it.
I'm not going to defend this person. I disagree with them. I thought it was a fine season. But I'm
just saying, like, I feel like that's a little, people get a little navel-gazy on that sort of stuff sometimes.
Well, I remember that feeling when I was much younger watching The X-Files. And there would be times that it felt like we were really, we're almost going to get the answer. And then what? We went backwards and now we were farther from the answer than ever before. I understand that impulse.
Yeah, and I guess what I'm saying is if you really finished this season and felt unsatisfied, then that could be the reason why.
Yeah. Now, I will say we definitely saw progress. Maeve got out for the moment. And bad explodey head is VP. That happened.
Victoria Newman.
A pawn for Team The Boys is now a pawn for Team Homelander. However, I think we're closer to actual redemption arcs. I never thought I'd say this, but for both the Deep and for A-Train, like A-Train is having a rough moment, and the Deep is fully understands that he is a coward. And I feel like if we're all leading up to some moment where, much like Invincible, season 1, spoiler, everyone unites against one foe. That happens. That's right. And then but anyway, then this was important for all that.
That's all I got. Anybody else more on The Boys season 4?
No.
The Boys season 4, episodes 7 and 8, the finale. That is it for season 4 of The Boys. Now, you may be wondering, well, Tom, you're going to watch Westworld season 4, episode 4 next week, but what else are you going to watch? Well, the minutes after this show stops recording, Better Call Saul comes back, season 6, episode 8. So we'll be talking about that next week. And What We Do in the Shadows is back. And so we will be talking about season 4, episodes 1 and 2. Again, we'll be catching up on What We Do in the Shadows now that we're done with The Boys and Westworld. So we're getting 2 episodes of What We Do in the Shadows as it comes back, 1 episode of Better Call Saul, and of course continuing to watch Westworld, unless you're Brian, in which case you're just having Bryce and I try to tell you how stupid fun Westworld is.
By the way,
next week on Spoilerin Time.
For the record, I might be having the better experience between all 3 of us. It's amazing.
I don't know.
It's hard to
Some
disagree.
people like cilantro. Hey, folks, if you want to get these episodes earlier, why become a patron? Patreon.com/Cordkillers. You can get Spoiler in Time before everybody else and extra special spoilery stuff in After Talk, along with other insider information that Brian and Bryce and I discuss. That's all at Patreon.com/Cordkillers. We'll spoil you again next time.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.